then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Welcome to Chicago, Illinois. We're here for some street racing with the Icon Cup Series on SRM. As always, I am Shane Cochran. With me in the booth is Alan Bergen. Alan, how you doing on this 4th of July weekend?
Buddy, I'm ready for some fireworks. Hey, look, we're 5 hours north of St. Louis in the middle of Cub Country, and we're racing on the streets of Chicago. It can't get any better than this, other than a Cardinals victory. But hey, nonetheless, we're gonna find out who's got what it takes to muscle that car around here. And Shane, we talked about it off air. I feel like Grant Park is gonna be Calamity Corner, or around Grant Park and that statue where the opening sequence to Married with Children was filmed. I think that's going to be the part of the course that's going to be Calamity Corner. And you think the whole course is going to be Calamity Corner. But we're going to find out in 45 short laps.
Yeah, this is going to be a tremendous race. I mean, I think if you watched any of the Chicago action this weekend with the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, they both put on a tremendous show. This is going to be exciting. Early in practice, looked like Nathan Finnegan was fastest, but we'll see who comes out with the pole position around this track. It's a street course here in Chicago, 2.12 miles. They're calling it the Chicago 99. Going to be about 45 laps. Track temperature is, let's see, the air temperature is 84. Oh, no, the air temperature is 67. Track temperature is 84. And it's a little bit foggy and cloudy here, so we hope our camera angles are able to capture the action. We've got about 2 minutes left here in qualifying, so let's take a look back at last week at Atlanta. The newly named Echo Park Speedway lived up to the hype. There were 33 drivers that started the race. Just 14 finished it on the lead lap after 12 cautions decimated the field. Pole sitter Charlie Widener would lead 23 laps early, but would not see the end of stage 1 as a lap 37 caution would end his night and wrap up stage 1. Nowhere was safe as the wrecks were occurring for leaders in the middle of the pack and even people trying to follow from a safe distance. Both Michael Taylor and Ryan Patty would get loose and then get finished off by whoever was drafting behind them while they were running up front. We also saw multiple drivers save spins down on the apron, into the grass, etc., only to have all that momentum carry them right back up onto the track and into traffic. We also saw a number of drivers spinning tires on restarts, one of which brought out the final caution on lap 157 and set up a green-white checker. Brian Smith led the most laps, but he would have to settle for 5th, pushing his teammate Cody Neal to the podium. Both Zachary King and Travis Gilbert led 16-plus laps, but got eliminated by a big wreck with just 7 laps to go. Kyle Diaz, though, he started 31st, methodically made his way through the carnage, leading 35 laps of the race, including the final 32, and concluding with a 3-wide finish with just 0.05 of a second margin of victory. Jonathan Duncan with P2, Cody Neal P3. It was a pretty exciting race there in Atlanta last week. We're looking for something at least that impressive here at Chicago, as these drivers are just now wrapping up qualifying. And we'll see who's going to take the pole. I have a feeling it's going to be Finnegan. He was fastest in practice. And there it is, Nathan Finnegan on the pole. I'm predicting it tonight. He's going to be tough to beat, Alan.
He calling you shot already?
Yeah, I think, like I said, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. We're going to have to see if any of these other drivers have anything for him. I think on this 4th of July weekend, we're going to do something a little different. Rather than reading through the grid as drivers are lining up, we're actually going to have a presentation of the Star Spangled Banner here as we watch these drivers grid up and take their pace lap. And we'll have that going right now.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And we hope everyone out there watching on YouTube has had a great 4th of July weekend. Thank you for joining us here on Sunday nights on SRM with the Icon Cup Series here for the Chicago 99. Like I said, Alan, I think my pick is going to be Nathan Finnegan. He's going to be tough to beat. Who you got in tonight's race?
Man, it's hard to pick. 26 drivers think they can win this race. But I got to go with my usual weekly pick of the Rocket, Zach Lockett, rolling off on that outside second row there. And, you know, look, here he is. We're going to end up calling Zach Lockett the second City Saint for a reason here. But, you know, once again, anything can happen. Just check who can hustle this car around here. Because you're going to be absolutely wore out after 45 laps. Now, I wanted, you know, we're going to have all sorts of fun facts here tonight. Also, with stages at 12 and 24, with 5 sets of tires, and the 3 attempts at a green white checker. So hopefully, only 2 cautions tonight, and that would be the stage.
Yeah, I think the fuel window should play into kind of the way this race is laid out. I'm not expecting anyone to hit pit road in stage 1 or stage 2, but then when we get down to that final stage, it's going to be, I think if everyone saves just a little bit or at least tops off fuel, they should be fine. But not expecting a lot of green flag stops tonight. But if we pick up some cautions, I think tire and fuel strategy will come into play. But they are cutting around the course here in Chicago. The fog has lifted. That's going to be great for our camera guys. And the field not necessarily all the way stacked up. I'd like to see them get a little tighter here, but up at the front, they are getting ready to go as they come around the final few turns before they get the green flag. As they come around, Nathan Finnegan and Brian Smith leading them. The green flag is out. As they head down into turn 1, Finnegan going to stick to the inside. No contact yet. Everyone playing nice here on the first lap. And that 6 car just getting a huge lead already. I think we had 2 cars start from the pits. Bentley, Glazer, and Sean Purcell. They are now rolling 2 a little further back.
I think they did that by design, but here we are. Panning out 3 wide. Ooh, someone's locking the brakes.
Oh, everybody getting a little loose off of this corner. Zach Lockett going to make a move and pull into 3rd place ahead of Jacob Smith. Finnegan already out to almost a 1.5 second lead. Then Brian Smith with almost a 1.5 seconds. Back to Zach Lockett for 3rd. Like I said, Alan, I'm really impressed. Everyone playing nice.
For now.
A lot nicer than the in real life Cup drivers were, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised these guys didn't go out and find a couple of road course ringers to you know, race this race for some of these drivers like they do back in the day. But here comes Ryan Patty all over Nathan Brzezowski, and Nathan Brzezowski is all over Braxton DeWeese there.
Yeah, he got inside of that 77, wasn't able to complete the pass. Gonna have to line him up again. A little further back, we got Kyle Diaz battling with Patrick Colby and Mike Grinnell. Again, everyone just seems to be very polite with each other so far in this race. Zach Lockett is starting to come under fire from Jacob Smith. That's just the battle for third.
I think this is the only time where street racing is actually acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty impressive move. Jacob Smith able to go by Zach Lockett on the outside. And right now, our two leaders, Finnegan and Smith, racing almost 2 seconds faster per lap than the rest of the field. I'm not sure anybody has anything for them at the moment. Brzezowski under fire again from Patty. Patty going to take it away. That puts him up to 6th position.
Yeah, the question is, where could you outbreak these guys? I mean, you're setting your passes up, 3 to 4 quarters ahead of time. Nathan Finnegan, though, at the ranch, you're not missing anything up front there. As Brzezowski's going to slide the brakes.
And DeWeese goes around. That was
man.
A lot of action going on in one turn, Alan. We saw Brzezowski and Patty get together, and then just ahead of them, Braxton DeWeese goes around. He's going to drop back to 12th, maybe 13th here as Jake Champion goes by. Not the end of his day, but definitely going to slow him down.
Al Gilbert out of Paducah, Kentucky, going to park it on the hauler and win the race to the beer stand. Or he's going to go get the first deep dish pizza of the day.
Who knows? Look through the field. The biggest mover right now, Cody Neal. He's up 11 positions to 10th position. Here, breaking into the top 10, looking for another one right here on Jonathan Duncan. He's going to get it. Yeah, I think Neal was at least in the top 3 in practice, and must not have had the qualifying run he was looking for starting back in 21st. But he's already up to 9th. The other big mover in the field is Kyle Diaz. He's running 14th, up 10 positions from 24th. But Ryan Patty is the driver making moves, making passes, and moving forward. He's up to 5th. He's gained 3 positions. But Brzezowski is not going to let him go. As these two drivers continue to kind of trade this 5th position and chase each other around the track. Here on lap 4, why don't we jump on board with Brzezowski and see just what this Chicago track has to offer. Drivers going all the way down to 1st gear. I mean, this might be the only track on the entire schedule where drivers are using all 5 gears in the racing line.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we are, 40 laps to go, 41 to go, rather. I mean, you can just see Nathan Brzezowski working the wheel.
Kind of heard it on the TV broadcast today from drivers, and you can see it here riding along with the 77. There is nowhere to catch your breath here on this street course. You've got to be aggressive. Try and find a way to get by that guy in front of you. Even if you're faster than the person you're chasing, you still got to kind of throw the elbows out to get around them. Looks like Braxton DeWeese has gotten back around Jake Champion. That's for 12th position as he tries to make up for that early spin. We're now 6 laps in. Again, halfway to the end of the first stage, which will be as the leader completes lap 12. Nathan Finnegan out front. Brian Smith in second. You know, they have been pretty similar on lap times, these two, as they break away from the rest of the field. Take a look at that. Finnegan narrowly edging out Smith on most of the last 5 laps, but Smith kind of hanging right with him, getting 2/10 back there a couple laps ago. These seem to be the two to watch so far in the race. Back in third, Jacob Smith. Staying right where he started this race. Then in fourth position is Zach Lockett. With a comfortable lead over Ryan Patty, who we mentioned had been battling with Brzezowski. These two are still within reach of each other.
Yeah, I like this battle right now with Nathan Brzezowski and Ryan Patty just going at it, getting after it here in the streets of Chicago, trying to put on a show. But you can see those brake rotors glowing now.
And then back behind them in 7th position is Chuck Van Schaik. Same position he started in. And then back behind him, Cody Neal, up 13 positions now in P8. Continuing to move forward. He doesn't really have the lap times to match the leaders, but he is making passes nonetheless. Ninth position is Jonathan Duncan. Having a solid day so far. And then rounding out the top 10 is Michael Taylor. And again, the lap times are really dispersed here. The two leaders are both running in the 126s. And a couple drivers behind them running in the 128s. And by the time you get outside the top 10, we're looking at drivers running 132s, 134s, and on down. So not the parity we usually see here at Icon. That's the kind of track that Chicago is, really separating out people who are able to dial in exactly how to make this car, this next-gen car, maneuver through this street course. Maybe these guys had a private meeting with Shane Van Gisbergen earlier in the week to pick up some tips, because he sure looked good out there today.
I think Nathan Finnegan has watched that cup race today and mimicked what SVG's doing. I mean, he's just hustling that car around here. You're not really missing anything up here. The real battles are going to be deeper in the field, but Nathan Finnegan has caught the back of the field.
Yeah, and Brzezowski has gotten back around Patty. That seems to be the battle that continues on through this race. Brzezowski back into 5th place where he started today.
You know, Shane, while we're in Chicago, let's do some Chicago fun facts, right? I'm going to hit you with one.
And now Patty goes around, and Zach Lockett is also spun out. You got to wonder if Patty saw the 93 there, and it kind of threw off his rhythm. That's going to drop Zach Lockett to 8th and Ryan Patty to 9th. As Brzezowski now up to 4th place.
Man.
Now on lap 9, just 3 laps to the end of the stage. A lot of these drivers, like DeWeese and Patty and Lockett, probably looking for a chance to catch their breath. Maybe put some fresh tires on after those spins and try this again.
It's just the haze is starting to come in on the track. But check this out. Right before we get to the stage in, here's a little fun fact for you. In 1900, Chicago successfully completed a massive and highly innovative engineering project, reversing the flow of the Chicago River so that would empty into the Mississippi River rather than Lake Michigan. Each year, the Chicago River is dyed green to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
There you go.
It's pretty neat how they do that.
And I did my part to celebrate Chicago Sunday, having a little bit of Malort along with some Italian beef and some pickled hot dogs.
Lord.
As we see Ryan Patty working on the bumper of Zach Lockett, trying to get that position back. Let's jump on board with Ryan here, running in 8th position, trying to get 7th away from Zach Lockett.
It's just how. Whoa! Hello, you're not supposed to do that, buddy.
And these cars just looking so loose. Again, this is, I would say, before the latest iRacing update and tire model update, these next-gen cars are kind of painfully tight. But in the weeks since the update, we have seen these things get sideways, a lot more oversteer in the car. And I think that really makes a race like this one really exciting, because otherwise you're just kind of hard on the brakes waiting for the car to rotate. And here you can see the rotation is there when they need it, and they've got to be careful getting back on the gas. We've got a battle brewing a little bit behind them as Braxton DeWeese is catching Michael Taylor. Or sorry, Michael Taylor catching Brian Smith. Brian must have had a bit of an issue or something. He was running second here early in the race.
I don't see any damage. Looks like Nathan Finnegan's in on pit road here, right before into stage 1.
Yeah, trying to flip the stage. Let's see if we can take a look back, see what happened to Brian Smith. He's just ahead.
Like
He pitted. Okay, that explains it. So both Finnegan and Smith, Brian Smith that is, coming in before the stage end so that they can stay out and be in the lead. Jacob Smith in that 4 car going to stay out, at least for now. That leaves him in first. Nathan Brzezowski, 8 seconds back in second place. We've got a number of drivers already a lap or more down. Bentley Glazer, 3 laps down. He's out of the race. Kyle Diaz out of the race. See if we can track down what happened to them. As we are closing in on the end of the stage, looks like Kyle Diaz had an issue back on lap 6. Just got loose there. And then picked up some contact with the 28. It's going to be what takes him out of contention here. We also have Bentley Glazer. Appears his issue was also on lap 6. Oh, he kind of got the driver in front of him there, got in the wall, and then he followed him right in. That's what's taken out Glazer. Kyle Gilbert has also been out, now 10 laps down. But Jacob Smith is coming around to take the stage win. He clips the inside wall there just a little bit. No worse for wear. Going to keep it going.
Definitely, these guys are all over the place right now.
Yeah, Absolutely a unique, challenging track. We see Cody Eldred is not in the race. He is cheering on and rooting on from the YouTube live chat. And the word he used is an abomination of a track. And that's going to be the stage 1 caution as Jacob Smith wins stage 1. Everybody else looking for answers. Finnegan and Smith were leading most of stage 1. They jumped into the pits. So I imagine they're going to stay out here and inherit the lead. While everybody gets around, caught up, and on pit road, we're going to take our first commercial break of the night here on SRM with the Icon Cup Series. Welcome back to Chicago Street Course here with the Icon Cup Series. We are under caution for the end of stage 1. As drivers are now making the decision to hit pit road or not. Jacob Smith won stage 1 there. Nathan Finnegan was fastest in practice. He was also sitting on the pole, but he came down and pitted there about 3 laps before the end of the stage, handing the lead over to Jacob Smith, who's going to stay out here, keep that track position. And then behind him is going to be Nathan Finnegan, and then Brian Smith, and the one other driver who pitted under green to flip the stage and be in position here at the beginning of stage 2. everybody else going to come down pit road. We'll see what the strategy is. I can't imagine you wouldn't take 4 tires and fill it full of fuel. But there's always somebody trying something else. Meanwhile, in that first stage, we saw a number of drivers have solo wrecks. One that we didn't have time to show you yet was Kyle Gilbert on lap 2. Here he gets tight and into the wall. Once, looks like maybe he's already been into the wall even before that, and then that car is just not turning. He's hard into the wall and blows the motor. He is now out of the race. I'm going to come home 24th by the end of the night. I think another driver is Sean Purcell. He's showing 5 laps down, but I don't see anything in the event tracker for him. Maybe we'll be able to track that down later. But Sean Purcell, 21st, 5 laps down. But back out on the track, I believe. So that's going to leave 15 cars on the lead lap with Brock Hersey, the only car 1 lap down, sitting in the lucky dog position. Other than that, you've got Jacob Smith, Nathan Finnegan, and Brian Smith are your top 3. Nathan Brzezowski, Jonathan Duncan, your top 5. You got the Rocket Zach Lockett in 6th, Michael Taylor 7th, Kyle Purcell in 8th, Ryan Patty 9th, and Mike Grinnell in 10th. Biggest mover of the race is Evan Patinko. He's in 15th right now, but up 10 positions from where he started. We've seen a lot of movement kind of up and down the leaderboards here tonight as drivers make big gains on restarts and then make kind of big strategic losses by hitting pit road at different times. Looking through those pit cycles, looks like I said, everybody who did hit pit road appears to have taken 4 tires. The only person who hasn't pitted in this race is Jacob Smith in the 4 car. He is leading the field back to green as we have 1 lap to green here under caution. Let's see, you got any more Chicago trivia for us, Alan?
I do, as we get ready to come back to green here. Here's one bit of news. The Cubby Bears are 8-0 over the St. Louis Cardinals in the bottom of the 3rd. But there was a bit of a fire in Kansas City back in the 1800s, and hence why they're called the Second City, because the first, Chicago burned down to the ground, and they rebuilt the whole city.
And there you go.
I'm full of fun facts.
As you mentioned, Alan, while we were on break, this usually we see the traditional iRacing truck and iRacing car, pace cars, but we've got a BMW, looks like an M2 out there here for Chicago. Looking sharp.
What is the train called in Chicago?
I don't have that one.
Called the L.
Oh, yes, okay. I was expecting more of a punchline. I wasn't sure if we were doing a joke or a trivia question.
No, it's a trivia question.
All right, we're coming through the last few turns here to finish off lap 16 to start stage 2. It's going to be Jacob Smith and Nathan Finnegan on the front row. Smith taking the outside. A little non-traditional here as the restart zone here in iRacing, a little further down on the front stretch than it is in real life. I think it's actually before that last turn in real life, but Smith gonna throw it in, overshoot the corner hard into the wall. Not what he wanted to see.
Green.
We're still green,
boy.
but that is gotta be a huge obstacle for Brian Smith to overcome, as now Brzezowski is up as Finnegan is sideways on the track.
Oh, no.
Backing up into traffic. Everyone going to get around him.
Oh, my.
And that leaves Nathan Brzezowski out front in that 77 car. We see Jonathan Duncan struggling behind him. These cars are loose, Alan, on fresh tires and on old tires, as both Brian Smith and Jacob Smith suffer big spins here on the first lap of stage 2.
Yeah, no side drafting going on at this racetrack tonight.
No, when things calm down here, we will go back and look at both of those spins by our leaders. We saw Brian Smith overshoot that first turn and head almost straight into the wall. But while we were paying attention to that, we did miss what happened to Jacob Smith. We got a number of cars here having issues. Patinko around. All right, let's start reviewing this first lap. We got a lot of action going on. Brian Smith was the first driver to suffer here in turn 1. Locks up the front tires into the barrier. Then just after that, Jacob Smith and Nathan Finnegan battling for the lead. Oh, it looks like Jacob Smith got sideways and then into the 6. Then next up, it was Evan Patinko. Oh, it actually happened in front of him. Purcell off the nose of McNeil. Is that who that is?
Yes, that's McNeil in the number 48 car. Oh,
they catch a whole pile more of drivers there behind them. Let's see that one more time. Yeah, McNeil, Patinko, then Brian Smith involved. Looks like there may have been, then as all of these drivers are trying to collect it up and get going again, Finnegan with another spin. Oh, it's the 55. Spins in front of him. That's Mike Grinnell. Just everything shaken up here. And now Patrick Colby, the last driver to have a spin here in Chicago. Something looks wrong with that car, Alan. He is kind of hopping it all around. Keeps it out of the wall, but that's going to hurt his chances here tonight.
That toe link's broke.
As now, I think, Champion on pit road with some sort of issue. And that's going to wrap up all the action there on lap 17 as we went back green for stage 2. Nathan Brzezowski is out front with a 2.5 second lead. Then back behind him, Zach Lockett in that 93 car. You can see those rotors glowing in the night, or in the fog here.
It's the fog.
Then in third, Jacob Smith. Right as we jumped in, he goes around. He's in traffic. Ryan Patty collected. Michael Taylor gets around. Duncan around.
Oh.
And it's non-stop action here in stage 2. We're actually let's jump on board with Ryan Patty and see what this looked like to him. He's chasing down Jacob Smith. This is for the 3rd and 4th position. And you see him go around. There's nothing he can do. Nowhere to go.
I tell you what, Shane, when we went back to Grand on lap 17, all proverbial hell just broke loose.
It is getting wild out there. It looks like maybe McNeil and Purcell have had another collision. We are jumping all over the place with the replay cameras tonight to try and bring you all the action. Purcell and McNeil get together I'm not sure if they're too happy with each other from that contact earlier, but also both of their cars with some pretty meaningful damage. Not sure if those cars are in their control. Anthony Tizio, the next driver to have some sort of, oh, he's just trying to come through here, gets caught up with Purcell in the 55. Action all around the track. Nathan Finnegan working on Patrick Colby. This is all the way back for 12th position as Finnegan trying to recover from that earlier spin.
Right now, Brzezowski's got a 2-second lead. We're not missing anything up there, but right now the battle on the track is, with Nathan Finnegan and Cody Neal.
Yeah,
he's on a Sunday drive.
Go take a look. It's Cody Neal working on Charlie Widener. He's going to get around him. 95 said, go ahead and take it. You can see just how violent the bumps are through that portion of the track, Alan.
Oh, you can see it on the onboard cameras too. I mean, look, this track is bumpy. It's gonna wear you out. That's why some of these drivers that, race in other forms on iRacing here, especially like in the IndyCar series, they excel on street courses like this. Now, I've raced at, Chicago, Detroit myself. I've raced at Long Beach. And this is by far the toughest, because you got all these high street corners, and you got a lot of braking corners. Like right here, Michael Taylor should be able to get around, the 08 car, or Jonathan Duncan rather, should be able to get around Michael Taylor pretty easily.
Yeah, he was gaining on him. Looks like Duncan has gained on Taylor the last 3 laps by almost half a second. That is the closest battle on the track right now. As Brzezowski now out to a almost 3.5 second lead. Making it look easy.
Yeah, absolutely here. 3.5 seconds. Is what Brzezowski has on the rocket. Zach Lockett just out for a Sunday drive, taking it easy. Rocket and roll into a stage. It could be an adrenaline type night.
Yeah, we've got 2 more laps to wrap up lap 24 and stage 2. This would be a huge race for Brzezowski. He is currently 22nd in points. No wins on the season, no stage wins yet this year. This could really get some momentum going for him as we are almost done here with the regular season. Just a few more races before we get into the playoffs here with Icon.
Little factoid here as we're watching Nathan Brzezowski here. Chicago rests on 234 square miles of land. Chicago is the 3rd largest city in the U.S. and is home to an estimated 2.7 million relatives.
Looks like
residents.
Both Jacob Smith and Brian Smith with more contact here. Jacob pulling off of pit road. Here on, this was lap 20, and just locks him up on those cold tires. And we also had Brock Hersey involved in some sort of off-track incident. He kind of slaps the wall. Brian Smith on lap 21. You can see how badly that car is already beat up. He's trying to recover. And this street course just handing out more and more contact every lap. Jacob Smith with another bit of contact on lap 22. Looks like he just got the pit wall there, trying to get too much on entry. That brings us, I mean, it's like all over the place there. Now Finnegan is going to undercut the stage and flip it just like he did last time, coming into the pits. But Brzezowski is just running away with it, Alan. 5-second lead back to second, 12 seconds all the way back to third. He has found something here in Chicago.
Clean air.
Had a little bit of luck, a little bit of clean air, and some
And no
really
more lights.
impressive just consistency. We've seen cars be fast. A number of cars have turned better lap times than Brzezowski's running right now, but all of them pushing a little too hard, finding their way into the wall or into spins. And that's what's let Brzezowski just run away with it. Got to imagine he's going to pit here at the end of stage 2, but a stage win is going to feel really good for that 77.
Absolutely. Here's comes into the next corner. There you see him. There's the lap cars.
We've got a battle brewing. Here's Ryan Patty smacks the wall one more time. But this battle is for third position between Michael Taylor and Jonathan Duncan. Coming to the end of the stage, you'll see if Duncan can get by that 08 car. Seems to have a little bit better entry, able to make up some ground. You can see just how hard it is to get back in the throttle. Taylor going to throw the block. Now looks like that block is going to keep Duncan from being able to set something up here on this final lap. That means Nathan Brzezowski bringing it around. Just 2 more turns here before the end of stage 2. There it is. That should be the stage as the 77 wraps up. Lap 24. Really impressive run by Nathan tonight. Able to avoid all the spins and wall slaps that the other drivers could not. As we're now just over halfway in the Chicago 99 here with the Icon Cup Series on SRM. We're going to step away for a commercial break and be right back for the beginning of the final stage here in Chicago. We are back here at Chicago, the Icon Cup Series on SRM, as drivers are hitting pit road here at the end of stage 2. Everybody looks like they're coming this time, as I believe pitting now will let you make it to the end on fuel, and that's got to be the winning strategy here in the final stage. Brock Hersey going to get a lap back, take a wave around. Everybody else hitting pit road. It has been wild here tonight at the Chicago Street Course. We've seen, I mean, it's got to be about 20 wrecks and no cautions. Iracing being stingy with what it decides to use a full course yellow for. Zach Lockett going to win the race off pit road ahead of Nathan Brzezowski. Just had about a 10th shorter pit cycle, but Lockett into the wall there under caution. I don't think he picked up any meaningful damage, but drivers got to be careful even under yellow and pacing around here. And as that stage caution came out, there were actually 3 drivers making contact that we didn't have a chance to show you during the commercial break. First one was John McNeil. He just comes in a little too hot and locks up the front tires. Going to add a little more repairs to his to-do list for the pit crew. Patrick Colby coming around. He also gets into the wall here after locking up the front tires. But all of those drivers able to drive away from the contact and get back out there. So looks like Nathan Finnegan has stayed out. Again, he pitted back on lap 22, 2 laps before the end of the stage, just so that he could stay out here and get that track position back. But you can see he still has damage from some contact earlier in the race. The nose is pressed in on that 6 car. I don't think it's slowing him down, Alan, but that's got to be concerning if you're on Team Finnegan.
I'm not on Team Finnegan, but I am on Team Zach Lockett here, who, when we come back to green flag racing conditions, he's going to try to make a move to get that lead, and he's going to need to do it quick.
Oh, he's actually going to come down pit road. Maybe top off. Again, my crew chief notebook says that the pit window is somewhere between 20 and 23 laps, which should mean everybody who pitted is okay, but maybe Lockett worried about that damage he might have picked up grabbing the wall there on that pacing lap. Better safe than sorry for the 93. Might have actually had some meaningful repairs based on how long he's sitting on pit road.
I didn't have that one on my bingo card.
We take a look at our SRM race recap. Again, Nathan Finnegan was fastest in practice. He was on the pole, but he didn't win either stage 1 or 2. Both times opting to try and flip the stage by pitting under green. There in stage 2, he also had a big spin and wasn't even in position to win the stage either. We haven't had any cautions yet, although we've had a tremendous amount of kind of single car spins and maybe 4 and 5 car contacts. We are 1 lap to green. Here is everybody getting back underneath the pace car. Our biggest movers right now are going to be Cody Neal. He's in 6th position, up 15 spots from where he started. The next driver making big moves, Evan Patinko. He's in 12th, but that's 13 positions better than where he started the night. We saw him involved in a number of contacts, so 12th position, not too bad. And it looks like we've got 17 cars on the lead lap with Brock Hersey, the only car one lap down, in position for the lucky dog. He's coming to pit road right now to maybe get a little more damage repair for himself. And Zach Lockett is still on pit road, Alan. This has gone from bad to worse. As they're coming back to green, he's going to go a lap down if he doesn't get out of here quick.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a night-ending move for Zach Lockett to be on pit road.
It looks like we just got our first free Vinny request in the live chat. Glad everybody's still fighting for what they believe in as the pace car is back on pit road. Finnegan leads them down into turn one. He's going to swing to the outside ahead of Brzezowski. A great jump for the 6 car. Looks like everybody getting through turn one clean this time around. 3 wide. That is Chuck Van Schaik on the outside. Gets into Patty. Patty turns into the wall. Everybody goes around him. Not what either of those guys wanted to see for the start of this stage. Up at the front, Jonathan Duncan goes around. He's got some contact from Cody Neal and some other drivers. Take a quick look at that one. I imagine... Oh, Brzezowski got a little loose in front of him. I wonder if that kind of shook his confidence. Gets into the wall, gets sideways. No serious damage for him. We've got a battle brewing here around 5th place. Jacob Smith, Kyle Purcell, and Brian Smith all coming together.
Yeah, 16 laps left to go here. And I mean, we're really not missing anything out front there.
Yeah, look.
Nathan Finnegan back out to the front.
I saw Sean Purcell sideways there on the front stretch for just a second. He got it straightened out. As Patinko goes around Mike Grinnell in the 55. That's for 9th position. Patinko up 16 positions now in the race, continuing to move forward. A little further back. Got a couple cars here battling for 12th position. Chuck Van Schaik, Patrick Colby, Ryan Patty as Colby slaps the wall. All of these cars with a little bit of damage. Patty goes around the outside of Colby. That's going to set him up to be on the inside coming down the hill. See Colby locking up that right front. That's going to let Patty by. Patty also gets around Anthony Tizio in the 15. He's going to continue to claw back what he's lost from earlier in the race. And Brian Smith has caught the back bumper of Jacob Smith. Here, Brian goes by on the inside. Going to get that position away in turn one. Brzezowski starting to chase down the 08 of Michael Taylor. We saw Brzezowski win stage 2. He can't feel great about being in 3rd position and watching that 6-car drive away here to start stage 3. Right now, it looks like the fastest car on the track is the 4th place car of Cody Neal, and he's in the wall.
I mean, the tire barriers don't have any give to them.
Go back and take a look at what happened to the 38. Oh, it looks like he got loose and then got hard on the brakes to correct it. Got tight not too bad as compared to some of the contact we've seen with other cars. So Brzezowski going to get some breathing room ahead of the 38 and be able to focus entirely on catching Michael Taylor for second. Oh, he's sideways. He's able to save it.
Just 14 laps to go. Cody Neal riding in that 4th position right now. And Nathan Finnegan out to a 2.5-second lead over Michael Taylor in that number 0 weight car.
Yeah, this battle for second is the closest and most exciting on the track right now. Taylor has been able to hold off Brzezowski. Earlier in the race, we saw Taylor pretty defensive there at the end of one of the stages, but successful in doing so. As Brzezowski tries to find his way around. Now almost a second between them as Brzezowski gets loose and spins the rears. Now we've got a battle heating up. John Duncan going to go around Anthony Tizio. That is for 13th. I think that 15 car might have some damage, Alan. He's running 8 seconds slower than the leader, about 4 seconds a lap slower than most of the drivers around him. I think he's got some damage that he has not had a chance to repair.
You know, this is the point of the race where I'm usually saying stuff about sand to the hourglass running out, but for Michael Taylor up here in the front, he's out. He's 2.5 seconds behind Nathan Finnegan. Now, Nathan Brzezowski needs to get around, as you see the eyeball test there. Nathan Finnegan needs to get, or Nathan Brzezowski needs to get around Michael Taylor in a hurry.
Both of these drivers sitting on the podium right now. We talked a little bit about Brzezowski not having any race wins or stage wins yet, but Michael Taylor sitting in the same boat. No wins yet this season, no stage wins. He's got 7 top 10s though. He's trying to break into that first win of the season. Right now, almost 3 seconds behind Finnegan. And meanwhile, trying to hold off that 77 car of Brzezowski. Both of these drivers touching the wall a lot more than I would have expected pre-race, but they're making it work.
Oh, you just heard them RPMs jump right there. Michael Taylor getting loose with 12 laps to go.
As we mentioned before, everyone should be good on fuel to the finish. Not a lot of pit strategy to play out here under green flag conditions, but if we were to catch a caution, I imagine there'll be a mixture of cars coming to get some fresh tires versus those staying out. Right now,
I hope we don't catch a caution.
Finnegan running about 2 seconds off his fastest lap with fresh tires. So there is a little bit of tire fall off. Over the course of the run, most of these drivers have been out there for 7 laps since that stage. But Finnegan has been out there for 11 as he came in 2 laps before the end of stage 2. He should be good on fuel, Allen. I don't think he's cutting it too close as long as he was saving under caution.
I think he's saving under caution, but nonetheless, Nathan Brzezowski is all over Michael Taylor. I cannot get over this battle right now. What a great view from the blimp as the fog has lifted.
As we jump on board with that 77 of Nathan Brzezowski. 3rd place, fighting for 2nd. This has been the best battle here in stage 3. just see how much speed they carry through here. He's going to jump to the
Oh,
inside.
he's got the line. He's got the line.
Oh, and
Clear.
Taylor lets him have it. I don't think they were going to make it through there too wide with the line that Brzezowski took. But he got in front of Michael Taylor and took it away.
Brzezowski has just become a man on a mission to catch Nathan Finnegan in 10 laps. You know, like on an oval track, 10 laps is not a lot of time. But here on a road course, especially in Chicago, 10 laps is an eternity.
That's about 22 miles. That's good for 44 laps at Martinsville. It does look like he's pulling away from Michael Taylor. We'll have to check the lap times as they come around here at the end of lap 35. Does a 77 have anything for Nathan Finnegan? That lap, Finnegan was a 10th faster than Brzezowski. So the 77 going to have to turn it up another notch to catch him.
Yeah, Brzezowski's going to have to set on the afterburners.
We've got a bit of a battle here around 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. They're all kind of coming together. Charlie Widener out front, Chuck Van Schaik trying to chase him down, and Mike Grinnell and Jonathan Duncan doing their best to join the party right behind him. Chuck going to go inside the 95. Makes it stick, but has to slide up in front of him. I think Widener gave him a bit of a break there, not forcing the issue. And just like that, Cody Neal has caught Michael Taylor. It wasn't too long ago we saw him have an issue and fall 4 seconds behind the 08 and the 77, and he's made his way back up.
Is it just me or is that interval between Finnegan and Brzezowski keep growing?
Yeah, I think that lap, Brzezowski was a whole second slower than Finnegan. Finnegan is, and it's not just the 77, Finnegan is a second or two faster than the entire field right now. With minimal lap traffic to deal with, he is just driving away. Although just as I say that, he comes up on, no, he still got some space. I think he got by the 24, was just in front of him. That's Brock Hersey. Brock let him go. As now Jonathan Duncan gets around Charlie Widener. That's for 10th position. Cody Neal continues to work on the bumper of the 08 as they both catch the lap car of Brock Hersey. This might set up a moment for Neal to take advantage of. And there it is. You can see Michael Taylor gets slowed up by the lap car. Cody Neal gets around him. Right back on the rear bumper of the 08.
I was gonna say Cody Neal needs to make this pass right about here.
Being real patient, he tags the inside wall there. That's going to slow him down. Lurking behind him is the 78 of Brian Smith, still with a lot of visible damage on that car, but he is trying to chase these two down. Running laps faster than the leader that last one. You can see these cars drifting out of the turns.
Does it feel like we're watching Tokyo Drift?
I don't know if I go that far, but this, like I said, this tire update and this latest iRacing update overall has really brought a new life to the next-gen car. making these road races just really exciting to watch. Reminds me more of the Xfinity cars. Neal goes wide. Takes a really kind of suboptimal line into that turn. That's going to let Brian Smith catch him as he also locks up the brakes. So the 78 goes by for 4th place. Seven to go here in the Chicago 99. Patrick Colby now lined up to be the next car to try and get by the 95, who has been falling back on this run. He gets a little bit of breathing room as Michael Taylor, Brian Smith, and Cody Neal are now a 3-car battle for 3rd. Brzezowski doing his best to track down the leader, Nathan Finnegan. Take a look at those lap times. Yeah, Finnegan has been pulling away pretty consistently, but there on lap 37, he lost almost a second to Brzezowski and then gained it right back the next lap. So I think all Brzezowski has to do is be consistent and try to see if he can force Finnegan into a mistake. As these three are just on top of each other. And as I say that, the sun has come out, the fog is lifted. We've got 6 laps to go. Brian Smith into the wall, doing everything he can to get around Michael Taylor, and that's going to leave an opportunity for Cody Neal to go down low on the inside. Side by side through turn 1. Now Smith going to be on the inside here on this right-hander. Neal concedes for now. That lets Taylor get a little bit of some breathing room here.
You know, I've been watching these intervals right now, and Brzezowski is starting to close up. He's down to a 3.5-second gap, which tells me one of two things. Either Nathan Finnegan has caught the wall again, or Brzezowski is getting a little bit faster. He's going to reopen that interval up to 4 seconds.
Yeah, so, I mean, when we think about strategically what's different between them. Oh, as Brzezowski has to get around that car who got in the wall. Looks like he did it without losing much time, but yeah, I mean, Finnegan pitted a few laps before Brzezowski, so Brzezowski has a slight tire advantage. Again, we know from at least my best calculations that Brzezowski is good on fuel, but Finnegan might be close. So you got to wonder if Finnegan's tires and fuel situation might be the reason he's slowing down. But there on that lap, he opens up an even bigger gap on Brzezowski, gaining another 0.4 to bring it back to 5.5 seconds. Lap car is not making it easy for the 77 here, or for these three, as Brian Smith has now dropped back behind Cody Neal. And they both caught Michael Taylor.
What is happening to Michael Taylor? Cody Neal, Brian Smith looking to get around that 08 car.
Yeah, these three have been putting on some of the best racing we've seen all day. Here with just 5 laps to go. Smoke as looks like McNeil is in the wall just ahead of them. He's 1 lap down, I believe. He's going to pick up a black flag as well. I'm not sure what for. He looks like he crashed a couple times there on that last lap. And now Widener has crashed. We mentioned he had been losing some positions to a couple drivers. And here just gets in a little too deep. Not too much damage there. As Cody Neal is looking, taking a peek to the inside, but then he's going to tuck back in behind Michael Taylor with just 4 laps to go.
We're getting down to the end of this one.
Yeah, Finnegan continuing to pull away from Brzezowski. Michael Taylor trying to hold on to that final podium position. Now it looks like Ryan Patty has crashed. He's running 10th. Take a quick peek at that. Just ahead of Van Schaik, it looks like. This was just 1 lap ago. Oh, hard to the wall, and then contact with the 23. Back to Michael Taylor, Cody Neal, and Brian Smith battling for 3rd place. The speed they carry through here, Alan, is it feels uncomfortable.
It looks uncomfortable. I mean, 3 laps to go here for Nathan Finnegan. But Brian Smith out of Northville, Michigan, he is getting tossed around in that car. And, you know, Shane, here's the thing. I hope he does not have a motion rig because he is going to be sore.
Yeah, this seems like the kind of night you might want to turn the force feedback down a little bit. As they start to get spaced out again. This battle for 3rd continues to be the best on the track. Michael Taylor fighting hard to get a podium. Cody Neal up 17 positions to 4th. And Brian Smith in that 78 car trying to get the best he can out of a race where he saw a lot of heavy contact early on in stage 2.
Top 5 not going to be bad for Brian Smith. I know it's not where he's accustomed to finishing.
He's going to look inside and locks it up. Into Taylor. He gets around Neal as Taylor spins the tires. He's in the wall. And that's going to let that 78 cruise on by. Gets a 2-for-1 special, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. Here they come down to the inside. Does Michael Taylor have enough to get around a 78 car?
I thought he might pay him back. I don't think he appreciated the way that the 78 got around those 2 cars, locking up the tires and getting into them. But, oh, Michael Taylor hard into the wall. He's running in 5th place. He's got about 26 seconds back to 6th with 2 to go. He might be able to limp around, but that looked like some pretty devastating damage as he got into the tire barrier. So with 1.5 laps to go, Nathan Finnegan is slicing through lap traffic with just under a 5-second lead over Nathan Brzezowski, doing everything he can to try and catch that 6 car. Don't think he's going to have enough here, as we're all just over 1 lap to go. Then it's Brian Smith, who just spent the last 10 laps battling his way up to 3rd. Cody Neal in 4th, and Michael Taylor trying to hold on to 5th, although we saw him pick up some damage there. He's going to be limping around this final lap. But it's Nathan Finnegan taking the white flag.
I think the sands of the hourglass have ran out for Nathan Brzezowski and Brian Smith. There's just not enough time.
We ride along for this final lap with Nathan Finnegan. Again, all the way down to 1st gear. I can't think of any other track on the schedule where you actually use first gear while
Sonoma?
you're racing. I feel like I just stick it in second. Maybe in the hairpin, you're right, but I mean they're hitting first gear multiple times in a lap.
I mean, that's only one out there at Sonoma.
Coming around, waving to the fans is Nathan Finnegan. Just about a half mile left before he brings it back to the start-finish line. Up over the bridge for the last time here in the Chicago 99. Checkered flag is in the air, and Nathan Finnegan gonna sweep practice, qualifying, and the race. Here in the Icon Cup Series, coming home second is going to be Nathan Brzezowski. A big podium finish that he needed. And then Cody Neal able to survive Brian Smith. Brian must have had an issue there just on the last lap. We can hear a couple cars crashing here on the checker flag lap. Let's go back and see what happened to Brian Smith as he had gotten around Cody Neal. Catches Patrick Colby. Oh, and just gets loose, and Neal helps him finish it off. After working so hard, Cody Neal is the driver that is going to gain the most positions in the race. Finish on the podium. 18 positions gained in the race. And bring it home in third, but Nathan Finnegan with the victory. While the drivers are coming around to get ready to do some celebratory donuts, we'll take a quick look at the Icon Cup Series schedule. Here at Chicago, we're wrapping up just 4 races to go in the regular season, 2 of which are road courses. Sonoma next week. And then it is Dover, Indianapolis, Iowa, and Watkins Glen to wrap up the regular season before we head to Richmond to kick things off, Alan. This is going to be an exciting couple weeks in the Icon Cup Series as everybody trying to make their way into the playoffs if they can, and the drivers who have already guaranteed a spot trying to get all the playoff points they can, like this 6 car here, picking up another victory.
I mean, just as we keep going through the schedule, the teams and the opportunities are going to get less and less. So you're going to see that aggression level get turned up to, 11.
And this is Finnegan's 4th win of the season here in race number 19. That's a pretty impressive straight line burnout he's got going on down the front stretch. You know the Chicago fans are loving that. Looks like he's going to park it. Let's go ahead and see who we can get in here for an interview to cap this great race at Chicago off. Oh, and there goes Finnegan's motor blowing up from all that celebration. Quite a race, Alan. Like I said, we saw contact, spins all over the track. Not a single caution thrown by Iracing, though. Really setting it up to be, survival of the fittest. But Finnegan going to make it through and get it there. It looks like we've got... There they come. All right, we're going to start you off, Alan, with the driver of the 38 coming home third, Cody Neal.
Cody Neal, it's Alan up in the SRM booth. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
Look, man, you drove a masterful race, picking up 18 spots on the streets of Chicago. Take us through that race and what more your car needed to pick up 2 more spots.
Oh, man, I botched it in qualifying. If I could have started within even the top 5, I feel like I would have had a much better chance, but Nathan was pretty fast. Props to him for putting in the work. Yeah, I got damage early too in the first stage, which really slowed me down. So I started stage 2 in the back again. So I just had to fight it back and somehow got a podium.
Yeah, look, next week we go to Sonoma. How are you feeling about Sonoma, and what's going to be the strategy to get that 38 car in victory lane out there in wine country?
Yeah, we're just gonna have to put the work in during the week with the team, and you know, Buddy Motorsports has historically been fast there, and hopefully we can talk to you guys again next weekend.
Yeah, before we get you out of here, who do you want to think and you hope should get it done here on December 38 ride?
The team, really. You know, they all put in the work during the week, and we really kind of figured it out right before the race. So you know, we were struggling all week, really. But yeah, hopefully next week's better.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the podium finish. We'll see you next week in Sonoma.
Thanks, guys.
Next up in the booth is going to be the 77 of Nathan Brzezowski. Nathan, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
How about that? We saw you get your first stage win of the season and then do your best to chase down that 6 car at the end. Didn't quite get the win, but hey, what a podium finish for you in that 77 car. Tell us about your night.
Well, I mean, I obviously was not as fast as the big three out there, you know, with Finnegan and both the Smiths, but I was just trying to survive till the end. I feel like that's the big thing around here. Just surviving to the end. I feel like this track's just so narrow, and it kind of entices you to push more than you really can. So just surviving to the end, which is what I did. Obviously with that stage win, it was kind of Mickey Mouse in a way because the 3 cars ahead of me wrecked each other out. But you know, still a good group. Good day for Team Adrenaline, going 1-2 in that stage.
Absolutely. I think you hit it on the head. Just surviving. I think consistency was the word that I was using to describe you tonight. We saw a few cars able to burn a faster lap, but they were getting into the wall, getting sideways. You seem to be the most consistent out there tonight. So congratulations on the finish. Who you got to send some thanks and shout outs to?
I gotta thank Zach Lockett, everybody at Team Adrenaline for taking a risk on me and letting me drive for him, and gotta thank Pro Rental America, my sponsor, who lets me put their name on the car. Obviously, very proud to have them on board.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again. How you feel about the race coming up at Sonoma?
I'm definitely gonna get more seat time. I'm gonna try to win that one. I feel like it's kind of bittersweet finishing second because you feel pretty good finishing second, but you know you also are 1 spot short. So gonna put a lot of seat time in, try to get good lap times down, good consistency like I did today, and try to win there.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you good luck next week. Maybe we can talk to you again after the race, and we'll see you there.
Yes, sir. I hope so too.
All right. Happy July 4th. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
And then last but not least for you, Alan, is the driver of the number 6 car, Nathan Finnegan.
Nathan, congratulations on that win there. Bringing home P1 with a damaged race car. Take us through the last stage and what was going through your mind as you were running away with it.
Yeah, it was touch and go there for a while. I honestly didn't know how bad the front end damage was. It felt like the toes were still in it, and it didn't get knocked out or anything, but it definitely wasn't turning as well as it was earlier on in the night. And kind of knew track position was going to be super important tonight, so let's try to sacrifice the stage wins to jump the field for the restarts. And yeah, we almost missed our opportunity, losing so much track position going into that final stage. I think we beat the whole field off pit road by like 2 seconds maybe, or so. It was really, really close. Big shout out to the 77. Nate ran an awesome race. Kept a lot of pressure on, especially during the end there. Definitely didn't feel like it was a 6-second gap at the time. Good run with the 4, the 78. Good battles up front. Road courses, I enjoy this course. It's a fun track in my opinion. It's just super technical and little room for error. Because if you do if you do slip at all, it'll bite you.
Well, like, next week we leave the street Chicago for wine country. What's gonna be the key to keep that number 6 car parking in victory lane?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit more forgiving, obviously, than here, having the walls and everything else. I think, honestly, just again, track position is going to be important. So, I think people might have a lot of decisions to make about sacrificing stage points for opportunity to win it at the end. And again, maintaining that track position to avoid some of the chaos that can happen on restarts in the field. And it's, a couple 1,000-pound stock cars going through a short, a short course and tight corners. It gets pretty physical sometimes. So wouldn't surprise me if there's some contact next week too that we saw tonight in the midfield. So and even up front potentially. So, but it should be fun.
Well, look, man, before we get you out of here, who do you want to thank and who hope to get it done on this number 6 car?
Yeah, big shout out to the CCR ECR guys. Keeping us calm, cool, and collective during all 3 phases of the race there. Big shout out to Jake Gladelich for helping us out with live race control. He's been a really big part of what we can do on the admin team, especially especially here of all tracks where you have to really keep your focus at all times, or again those walls will come out and grab you. So that was really nice having him to be able to help with that, and kind of assess the situation and where pace car was on in track, all those strategy calls. So that was helpful. And big shout out to you guys for what you do and bringing our broadcast each and every week, and my wife and my parents for tuning in. And yeah.
Awesome job. Well, once again, congratulations on that P1 finish, and we'll see you next week in wine country.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well, quite the race here, Alan. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. Like I said, a ton of wrecks, but no cautions. Looks like we had only 10 cars finish on the lead lap. And in the end, Nathan Finnegan was able to overcome a big spin like that early in stage 2, fight his way back, use the same stage flipping strategy to get back out front and hold on to it ahead of that stage 2 winner, Nathan Brzezowski. And then a tight battle for third right at the end. Let Cody Neal come out on top of Brian Smith as Smith got loose there with just 2 turns to go before the finish line. So that's going to leave Nathan Finnegan the winner, Nathan Brzezowski in P2, Cody Neal third, Brian Smith fourth, Michael Taylor going to round out the top 5, then Kyle Purcell, Jacob Smith, Jonathan Duncan, Chuck Van Schaik, and Mike Grenell. Rounding out the top 10, Ryan Patty made his way back up to 11th after some earlier contact and issues. Then Charlie Widener, Patrick Colby, Anthony Tizio, and John McNeil make up the top 15. Brock Hersey in 16th, Zach Lockett 17th, Sean Purcell in 18th. It's going to be Evan Patinko in 19th, Jake Champion 20th, Braxton DeWeese 21st, Bentley Glazer 22nd, Kyle Diaz 23rd, Kyle Gilbert 24th, Jacob Gladelich in 25th, and Robert Bloom 26th. Any final thoughts on this one, Alan?
I mean, look, it's like a short track meets road course, a very technical course. But next week we're gonna be in wine country. I am super excited to get out there to Sonoma, and who knows, I may have a glass of wine sitting at the broadcast booth.
Nothing wrong with that at all. And we want to thank everybody watching here tonight. Didn't hear quite as many free Vinnies as we're used to, but that's all right. Love to you guys jump in the chat and talk to us every Sunday night here with the Icon Cup Series on SRM. We'll see you next week for more racing action here with the Icon Cup Series.